Here they are, obviously, gonna be an important matchup here. Let's see who is gonna win the die roll first of all. Yeah, let's see who is going first. 4, but it's a 6 from Mincione, so it's gonna be Spight going first, and it's also quite possible that now they know what their opponent are playing, and this can change significantly the opening. As we can see, though, a Stovi is picked up, and that is because Sirica is on the monster-heavy version of Labrynth.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit during this weekend, and this new version of Labrynth also showed up last week at the UK National Championship, performing very well, and also at WCS Philadelphia. And with this version, honestly, I think I really like the interaction with just playing, you know, your big welcome and welcome Labrynth, and what makes the difference, honestly, is the skill drain. On the other end, though, this is, I think, the standard lineup of Spight, which we haven't seen so far this weekend, although we have featured one Spight Melfi. And once you start things off with the Beaver, you get on the line the Blue, and later on, if you really feel like, you can also go for the Sprint sending the Angler, which will bring on the field 2 other Beavers. It really depends on his hand. But now, knowing that his opponent is a Labrynth, he took the starter, which he might also be considering whether to summon later on either the Carrot or the Red, depending on his hand.
Yeah, and obviously this is still a deck that it's been familiar and popular during the previous format, but it's still as good as ever. And even looking as me and Alberto went through the discussion, it's only gonna lose 1 Spight starter, so nothing too impactful, we could say.
And here, Giuseppe activates the starter, which makes sense. And honestly, here, I think he's just gonna have a big think on this, whether to summon either the Red or the Carrot, but looks like if Raffaele is considering...
Yeah, as mentioned, this is the version of Labrynth that plays a lot of end traps. Yes, very similarly to what made it into the top 8 of WCS Philadelphia from Ryan, but he has adapted it, and this is something that both me and Alberto like, which is at least play just the 3 copies of Skill Drain.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, because basically you just run, you know, your Labrynth cards, which usually are around, you know, the Trishan Dagger,
yeah,
alongside the Stovi and 1 Puklok, that's just it. And then the Love alongside the Lady Labrynth. And I think what really makes the difference is having the 2 skill drains in the main deck. I think that what the deck does at its best is just, you know, playing with, you know, all of these discarding effects, which are really cool and interact within each other, and then, you know, bringing up on the field the Lady Labrynth or the Lovely.
Yeah, and now this is the usual opening that we have seen multiple times again. Here you can go for a few different lines. Sometimes you go for the Melfi, but I think he already has in his hand.
Yeah.
Not sure if both the carry, but I saw a Melfi for sure. And I think it is the carry, yeah. So that's why he can go into the mannequin. Solid opening, but yeah. I think I saw a Stovi, which is going to be activated in the end phase.
Yeah.
Discarding the Lovely.
Okay.
One of the few bricks in the deck, but you can special summon it back from the graveyard. Stovi is an amazing utility card. As mentioned, you can discard it alongside another card, or rather send it from the end to the graveyard. You get a welcome, or technically the field spell as well. And that's amazing, because during your own turn, then you can already activate the big welcome.
I still like the line that Giuseppe went for, because basically now he has the Carrot negation, then also the carry with the Pini will be another negation as well. Then also the sprint can detach a material for the mannequin to bounce back 1. And then after that, if he really feels like, you can also use later on the mannequin's effect to bring up on the field another piece. So it's just taking a look at the Labrynth that has just been set by Raffaele. And looks like he can now draw for turn.
Yeah, decided to go for the field spell instead. It's definitely an utility card. I'm surprised by this choice, to be fair, even though there is a carrot there. Just because I don't think his opponent is gonna consider negating it. And I really would have liked maybe a welcome trap instead. But 3 face downs and back to Giuseppe. What's great about Stovi is that you can also special summon it back whenever you get rid of a monster from the field with a trap effect.
And here it looks like that Raffaele is thinking on Giuseppe's standby phase, whether to activate. Maybe as a big welcome or a welcome Labrynth. We will soon find out. It's just
maybe both.
Maybe both.
Yeah. Because like what the Labrynth does is that it gives an additional effect to your welcome traps that is destroying a card. And also when you activate a non-Labrynth, you can special summon one. But let's see. Main phase entered and the Nimbo Beaver gonna be used to special summon back from the graveyard the Angler. And this is quite the impressive field by Giuseppe.
And I think here he has so many options basically, because he's playing the Gamma Burst in the main deck, something that I really like, honestly. And he could also go for the Nightmare Phoenix to force out one of Raffaele's back row. And then he also has the Carrot as a negation. So he really needs to be careful about this, because basically he might be having something on the line to seal the game now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think I will force out one of the Raffaele's set card. Then he could go for the Gigantic. And I think he's going for the Phoenix. Let's see if I would like it.
It's one of the tech cards,
yeah.
And there it is. We didn't see much of this card, and now we've seen it twice in a row in these future matches. And going after the field spell, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But here we see the welcome. An Ash Blossom is changed to it, which is amazing.
And this changes the game entirely, because basically now I think Raffaele might be holding another one.
Yeah, but this is not that great, because the Carrot can't simply negate it. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But the impermanence to negate, is there a chain? Mind the column, because it looked as if he was chaining in the same column as impermanence. Yeah, they are just gonna make sure that this is all fair. Is he gonna chain anything else to this card?
Looks like it's fine.
Yeah, it's gonna resolve, which means we are going to special summon what's most likely either a lady or another, Shanda Glier, maybe the Ku Clock, but usually the lady is what you could get. Taking its time to consider what to do. And what's good about the field spell is that it will add the effect to the resolution, so it can still happen, although afterwards it's gonna leave the field. And he does go for the Chandagrier, which gets back to the end and destroys from the field spell, taking its time. Probably the Mannequin. Yeah. The Mannequin is the choice. There is nothing that can be chained at this point. The chain is still resolving. Therefore, It's gonna destroy the mannequin. And now the rest of the chain can fully resolve and the fuse spell is destroyed. Yep.
Correct.
The entire field has been disrupted by Giuseppe, and now in a new chain we get to use the effects of, it seems, Cathy, and then we are getting into the Stovey.
Yeah, it's just reading through the Chandagrier here just to make sure everything is all right.
Makes sense. The Stovey is gonna special summon itself back from the graveyard, and at the same time Giuseppe is able to resolve the carry, adding the Pinny, which can then be used to perform a synchro summon if he feels like it. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's gonna go for. He's playing both targets, I believe.
I think it's cooked.
But yeah. I think this is enough. It seemed as if there was still some hope, but Giuseppe was just too skilled in getting rid of, by the way, his friend, because they are both friends from the same area. And unfortunately for Raffaele, he needs to step things and call it even.
Yeah.
But at least now they can move on to their side decks. And what do you think Raffaele is gonna bring in for this matchup?
So taking a look at his side deck, honestly, he has a lot of going second card, but as well, there's like, for example, one copy of, multiple ones like Tech Devastation Virus, Dimensional Barrier. He has a lot of different options, also called by the grave when going first, if he really feels like.
I do agree. On the other hand, Giuseppe going second. As we mentioned, Bell is the best card against this deck alongside Ash, and he's also using 3 copies.
Yeah.
So that will be in the deck for sure. Alongside it, maybe Feather Duster and 2 Lightning Storms, which I have to say I'm not a big fan of against this version of the deck specifically, but you always side them in regardless.
Yeah. No, I mean, but we saw that like this weekend, every single time we had Labrynth on stream, there have been several Ashes and Ghost Bell being activated, and that was basically changed the game entirely. I mean, the Labrynth strategy is incredibly powerful, but of course, here I think Giuseppe started things off incredibly well. And I think it was a good catch with that Phoenix in general, just to, force your opponent to activate his trap cards. And then, of course, with Carol on the line, it was very difficult.
It was just too much. Obviously, the Nightmare Phoenix, as you mentioned, niche tech card, maybe just because he play tested against, Raffaele, and he thought, I do need it in this matchup. But regardless, our duelists are pretty much done with their side decks, so let's move on to game 2. It's gonna be a close one, no matter what, and for one of these guys, the dream of advancing to the top 8 will be over right here, right now, and that's where the tournament gets to the last few matches. And by the way, guys, we are going to be interviewing every single one of the participants in the top 8, so you want to make sure to win this match just to get that spotlight even more in the next round. But let's see what's gonna happen. As mentioned, Ash and Bell, enemies number 1 for Raffaele's deck. And a nice fist pump. Let's see this opening ends. Extravagance would be the best way to start things off here for Raffaele. Gonna take his time to consider his options. Obviously, outside of Extravagance, there is also Arianna, which is a nice start. But I see a lot of monsters in the end, I think.
Really?
I mean, it's very tough to see the end, but I don't know. I just look at least 2 monsters, and he doesn't seem too happy with this. Really, really considering his options.
He passed?
And he passed. I did see a lot of monsters, and maybe those were all the monsters in the end. Wow. But I think I see a Chandra. Is it not Chandra?
I can't really tell, honestly. Can't
Wow. Because if that's a Chandra, you want to use it regardless. So surprising opening. You'd never see a Labrynth pass of 5 cards in hand. And this could be a quick one with Giuseppe activating the Nimble Beaver.
Now, does he have, for example, an Ash Blossom or Gamma? I cannot believe it, honestly. He has
And it is the Gamma. But the Bell used just in a pretty underwhelming way to stop a Gamma that can be activated right after. But maybe there is a red in the end from Giuseppe or a starter. He's debating this, and it would surprise me if he just went for the Gigantic without any further protection. And it is instead the Melfi, interesting, wants to force out the Gamma by detaching one to get the carry.
And also something that you don't really see quite often. I mean, the XYZ is not always played.
But he's gonna go into a Zeus, it seems like. So gonna go for Zeus, playing it as safe as possible. And honestly, I don't mind it. He's just gonna leave the Gamma there. But here comes a Nib out of nowhere with exactly 5 summons. And wow, he kept this card in against this matchup. And he's actually gonna chain to Nibiru the Chandraglier, discarding the Nibiru itself.
Okay.
Interesting play, and that is why he didn't activate it right away. Definitely interesting line by Raffaele here, who is gonna get to set a big welcome from his deck. And maybe surprisingly take this game in a unconventional fashion.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that he had the Nibiru and the Chandraglier, Vulgagreen activating the bell on that Gamma.
I mean, we don't know the end, obviously, but I think it makes sense to play it super safe as he did. You just think your opponent has bricked, you just push some damage, and then you keep attacking with Zeus. And when they commit a card, maybe they cannot Gamma. But it's definitely something that I do agree with you was maybe worth thinking at least a little more. And that play is back to Raffaele, who can now activate the big welcome, and when he resolves it, getting back from the graveyard the Labrynth Shanda. So even if you get the Arianna here, that could be nice.
Yeah.
And he does.
Ooh, okay, no.
As you can see, Arianna getting it back to the end, and then you get back from the grave the Chandra. Exactly what's going to happen.
I think this is the first time this weekend we have the chance to see these interactions, basically.
Yeah.
Because there always been, you know, Ash Blossom, Ghost Bell being activated, and we never really get the chance to see them in action.
And Giuseppe is not going to respond to this, so this could even search for another welcome trap or the lady. Or even maybe the Stovey to just discard and use the effect again to set the big welcome with the effect. You have a lot of options in this deck. It's definitely not your regular trap-heavy deck where you don't really need to be thinking about monsters. You just need to be thinking about where to activate your traps. And he does go for the welcome. Interesting choice. Maybe just moving to the battle phase here.
I think Giuseppe drew either the driver and
think
the
both?
angler.
And now we're gonna see once again the effect to set the big welcome or the Labrynth field spell from the deck. Big welcome is the safe choice. Instead, he goes for the greedy line of getting the field spell, which obviously makes it much worse against Ash or Bell. Yeah. But maybe he already has both. This is an interesting order, because if your opponent has evenly matched, then they can use it now. But regardless, he doesn't get punished, and this is an amazing field set up by Raffaele. Who is gonna think about this effect. Worst case scenario, what you can do with a welcome trap is you get the lovely, and that's great, because when you get both the field spell and lovely, you can basically destroy two instead of just one. So let's see if now Raffaele wants to flip some of his trap cards. He doesn't. Wow.
Is there a skill drain?
I mean, you probably would have seen it on the beaver. And I'm definitely surprised that he didn't go for the welcome right away. Because you can easily just destroy both. Yeah. So that's an interesting choice from...
Because if you go with that one,
Labrynth.
basically you cannot even summon the blue, so it's...
No. Instead, this will give some advantage to Giuseppe. Especially because there was also an interesting play where Raffaele could have set up the deck devastation virus right now. Because what you can do is you can use the big welcome to get the coup clock back to end, and then set the deck devastation and use it immediately. Yeah. But instead, he's gonna go for a different line, and I honestly don't understand why. I mean, he has one more interruption with the big welcome in the grave, so that's the reason why he probably set the welcome instead. But yeah, he's gonna be thinking in a new chain, it seems.
Yeah, and I think this is the main power of the deck, now having so many different solutions to like a lot of different situations, that here it looks like, as Raffaele has mentioned, no, okay, he allows Giuseppe to continue.
Makes sense. At the same time, the one Zeus is gone. Usually in this format, you play two. So we could even see a Mosquito or something like that to try and go for a sneaky Zeus. But obviously, it wouldn't work that well against the big welcome. So let's see what he decides to go for. Seems like a Link summon into the Nightmare Phoenix. Interesting.
Okay. Because I think he has the angler, so at least he could get also one.
Yeah. This is a nice interaction with playing multiple anglers. You can use the effects by discarding it with Nightmares. And I think you chain the welcome here, for sure. Let's see if there is an Ash or no response, which means here you can special summon one and pop one with the field spell. Great interaction at the moment from Raffaele. And when you get the lovely, basically you can destroy both afterwards, as you can see here. So the Phoenix is gonna get destroyed. In a new chain, what can happen is Giuseppe is gonna use the angler to special summon one from deck, and then in a new chain, Raffaele can use a lot of his effects potentially, using the lovely to destroy one, and then adding back to the end the Chandra Glié and drawing a card with Arianna, so a lot of advantage here. But I think he didn't use the lovely.
I think he didn't, right?
Yep.
And here he brings up on the field the last beaver remaining. And he will try now to go for an XYZ summon. Let's see who he decides to bring up on the field.
Are you surprised that he didn't go for the pop as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really...
Because now you risk the Zeus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is risky.
Yeah, I mean, he could have destroyed just 2 right away. Obviously, he has the big welcome.
Yeah.
But this is still interesting line, I think. This might just be enough for the game, though, as he's gonna activate the big welcome, and then he's gonna use the lovely to destroy a card in the end. But the gamma is the huge punish,
And there's
which
Ash lost.
forces him to use the Ash. But the gamma still... Let's see which card is gonna get destroyed. It is the driver, okay. And this leaves few to the imagination. It seems as if all that Raffaele needs to do is win. And that's gonna be it. And most likely the end of this game 2. Yeah. They pick up their cars, laugh it off, and we are going to game 3.
Good stuff, honestly, here from Raffaele, who played it very well. We have to say on the other side that Giuseppe, I mean, drew into both the driver and the angler, so I think that was maybe unfortunate. But, I mean, it is going to be a very, very close game 3. I'm pretty sure that Giuseppe will start things off this time and...
Yeah, gonna try to set up his board. What he can do right now is bring up some of the cards from his side deck, such as, again, what we mentioned, the Duster. He's gonna keep the Bell, probably not change his deck too much.
Yeah.
He does have the Smashers, which is probably nice in this matchup, I would say. On the other hand, though, Raffaele going second, probably gonna keep a lot more of his Entraps in the main deck. And incredible to think that Raffaele won by opening and passing without playing a single card.
Yeah, if you think about it, honestly, we just thought for a moment, okay, maybe it break. No, just nothing going on. But I think on the other side, he played it well when he activated the Nibiru and then chained the Chandaglia, basically just to get rid of the Zeus and then resolving the Chandaglia. So I think that was very well played, especially because like he had the Gamma. So, I mean, on one hand, we thought that there was nothing going on, but the reality was totally different. So now entering into this game 3, Raffaele has a lot of options. You know, he has the Nibiru, he has the Gammas, he has Ash Blossoms. And then it really feels like there are also some Kaijus in the side deck. So a lot of different cards. And let's see who will be our winner and will advance to the top 8. Our guys are almost done siding in. So I would say
Let's go back.
Yeah.
And here they are, as you mentioned, for one of these guys, this will be the last end of the tournament, while the other one is flying to the top 8. Nice fist bump. Let's see who is gonna advance. As you mentioned, probably Giuseppe starting things off here, and we do see a lot of Entraps in the end from Raffaele.
Yeah. So there's
alongside skill drain. Yeah. Impermanence for sure is in the end.
I saw it as well. Can't quite tell the other one yet.
But let's see Giuseppe thinking about his lines. And starting thing off with a Nice deck card. Double Fenrir in his deck. We mentioned it, how it's a pretty interesting card for going second, especially.
Yeah.
But
Also saw Samir. Hi Samir, if you're watching.
yeah, winning it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will try his best next weekend at the French
Yeah.
National. Ooh, but attached card from the side deck. The one copy of Ibli, which you can usually search with
Wow.
Gigantic, but hard drawn.
Yeah. And here there's the impermanence to stop the sprint.
This can be quite annoying. At the same time, the Ibli is also not the greatest if you are Raffaele, because it shuts down Gamma and also most of your Labrynth trap cards. And that's exactly what Raffaele is thinking about right now. Whether he can chain anything, and he does chain the lady.
And now the Ibli gets summoned to Raphael's field. Let's see if Giuseppe has the starter, and he does have it. There was the only one card that could save him in this situation, and it does. So basically now the blue gets in the jet, and then from here, I think, honestly, it will be incredible, because basically now he can go for the jet. He can also go for either the carrot or the red, and then can also pass on to the gigantic. And once the gigantic gets on the line, if he doesn't have the carry, he can also go for the standard combo within the end phase, just special summoning it. But something that I like is that he plays the Smasher, and
yeah, he's siding it, the one copy.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, and I really like having all of three solutions either in the main deck or the side deck. So I think Gamma Bars is no-brainer in my opinion. And here with the Smasher, he has once again a very, very good solution, because now, he decides to go for the Gigantic in attack position, honestly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
it was unfortunately summoned in attack position.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, unfortunately, he activated the effect with the Gigantic in attack position, which can be a pretty big mistake considering he did go for it.
Yeah, because basically Ibli now is on the field, and the thing is that if he switches Ibli into attack position, he could crash into the Gigantic. So that's why you really want to summon the Gigantic into defense position, but there was kind of a misstep from Giuseppe who summon in attack. So
nice catch here from the judge. Obviously, it's not what you want to see, but it can happen. And this is one of the test cards as well in the deck. Soul Scissors, something we have seen again back in YCS London from some of these Sprite builds.
yeah, it has become popular thanks to the Income Fam, piloting the deck. And I mean, the card is very nice. It's one of another extender basically that the deck has.
Yeah, and it also gives you a nice protection in the graveyard, we can say, where allows you to pop one more card.
Yeah. And here I think that, unfortunately, that Gigantic in attack position, it's
a shame.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, there is a chance that, as we can see here with the Melfi engine, he can get to protect, but obviously, you don't want to leave that there. Still, impressive opening with Smashers and Catty. And play is back to Raffaele. With 11 minutes remaining. Again, as always, Extravagance would be a very nice start. Oh, wow, but he goes right away to banish the lady before his opponent can set a card.
Okay. You get rid.
Could have been done in your own turn. It's not like it changes anything, but fair enough. Now we move on, and it seems like Raffaele is just gonna set a few cards. and pass.
And the thing is that we saw Raffaele holding a skill drain. So it's
Absolutely.
that might hurt a lot, honestly.
Skill drain is for sure there, but keep in mind, Giuseppe plays RP Feather Duster, and maybe that's just in the end.
There it is.
Wow, and we see it flipped right away. I mean, this at the same time, it's not that bad because it means that it will negate the Ibli, which is why he can now flip his own Labrynth cards. But I'm not sure whether it was needed still. I think you could easily wait for a Sprite.
Because I think if he doesn't have the RP's Feather Duster here, honestly.
It's close, but at the same time, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it could also be that he just wins because of this damage. At the same time, he paid 1100 for starter, so he needs to keep in mind the life points difference. Gonna consider his options, maybe even just attacking and making a Zeus, as he did in the previous game. And it seems like he just entered battle phase, attacking over the Ibli, and then attacking directly. After using the Soul Scissors. So he's gonna read it, you can special summon it, and destroy a monster your opponent controls, which is obviously not the case right here. But then I think Raffaele is going to use one of his welcome drop just to stay ahead in terms of life. But we do see the Ash Blossom, always the MVP in this matchup. And now Giuseppe is ahead in terms of life points.
Yeah, and I mean, as you mentioned, once again, this is what really is putting Labrynth against the wall, honestly. And Ash Blossom and Gospel have hurt so much this weekend and have been incredibly impactful. And we saw our players playing most of them basically in 6-all. So it's
And now in Memphis 2, Giuseppe is gonna take into consideration going into Downerd and Zeus, or going into another Link summon just to be safe and makes sense. He goes into the Zeus. And then he goes into a normal summon of Fenrir.
okay.
Soul Scissors is banished.
Yeah.
As it was summoned from the graveyard.
And here Raffaele activates the Chandraglia, getting rid of one of the kaijus he had in the side deck and bring them in. You mentioned this before, he had a lot of different options, and now here, good catches that the Scissors is banished.
Scissors is banished, and now we get to discard the Gamma Seal to set the big welcome. And this could be actually huge.
Yeah.
Because the life point difference is not that much. And now, unfortunately, he just passed back to his opponent, who draws a card for turn, switches everything to attack, and will try his best to end this duel, regardless of the skill drain.
He enters battle phase. Okay, 3023.
But yeah, gonna use the welcome. Is there another bell or Ash? There is not, and this is a huge deal. He's gonna special summon what is either, you know, as you can see, the lady coming back to the end and triggering both effects in the graveyard. As we've seen, this is actually coming close and close to the wire.
Yeah, because basically now, of course, like time is approaching, but I think Raffaele has a chance, honestly. Yeah, because now he's going for the Lady Labrynth. Yeah, it brings him onto the field.
And here it is, as you mentioned, It's gonna be a close one because
cannot
6
say-
minutes remaining. Obviously, good catch from the judges.
Yeah, I mean, after the Zeus attack directly, now here, Raffaele is, of course, almost 4,000 life points down.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he can get ahead because as you see here, unless there is an Ash, which we know there is not, he can clear the Zeus with the graveyard effect of Big Welcome and just attack over the other monsters. Obviously, if there was not a time issue, I think he would win this pretty easily, but he just needs to pay attention to this. But again, this is exactly what's going on. He's gonna compulsory away the Zeus and then gonna attack with both of the other monsters directly after getting rid of the Fenrir. And this is gonna be a close one, but again, he is now gonna be ahead in terms of life points, still, I think, barely below, but yeah.
And here comes the Chandelier. Okay,
Ooh,
there's the
but
Gamma.
we see a Gamma here. Last hope was the Gamma, but with one card face down and nothing else, Giuseppe needs a miracle. Can he pull this off? I think he might have 2 cards in the end, maybe. Yeah. Did he even use the other Fenrir? I'm not sure. Maybe
sure.
that's the other card, but I mean, regardless, probably, no, he did. He normal summon, he did. So a miracle is needed. Let's see. Only a face down monster. And wow, if you're Raffaele, you get excited looking at this. You might get ahead. Attacks with the Lovely. And goes to attack into the starter. But no matter what, this starter is going to give the life points advantage to Raffaele. Because you need to pay 1,000. So now Raffaele cannot stress. You know, he can relax a little bit. He's ahead. And he now is gonna just pass to his opponent, it seems. Oh, but the top decked RP Feather Duster destroying skill draining permanents. Is there really hope? There is not. Nice fist bump. It is Raffaele who pulls off the comeback and wins the whole match.